I'm Mike de Greasley. Now, I'm not an archaeologist or an historian, but for the past 30 years I've regularly spent time walking and wild camping up on the various moors which have collectively become known as Ilkley Moor. For millions of years, nature's elements have formed the moor we know today. Successive ice ages have gouged out and carved the valleys which surround it. Wind, rain, snow and ice have slowly worn away the rocks, microforming its landscape with each passing moment. The fauna and flora have come and gone, flowing and ebbing with the ecological tide. And man, the hunter-gatherer, first appeared on the moors some 11,000 years ago. Addingham, Bingley, Burley, Hawksworth, Ilkley, Morton or Rumbolds are all place names on the map and given to the moor. But I know her by another name, Catty. By using the contour rings shown on an Ordnance Survey map of the moor, we should be able to create a 3D elevation of Catty. Now, each individual contour ring represents an increase in elevation of 10 metres, which is just over 30 feet for us older ones. At its lowest level, the valley floor starts at a plane of 60 metres, rising up the moor to a maximum height of 402 metres, which is 1,319 feet above sea level. The moor appears to have been colonised by man about 6,000 years ago, during the Neolithic period. Now, evidence for this can be seen in the rock art, which is described as being scattered over the moor. One feature which seems evident about the moor's plateau is its uncanny resemblance to that of Brock, the badger. And although early settlers had no way of seeing this from the air, it is possible that they were able to deduce and envisage this feature within their mind's eye. Now, you may think that's a little bit far-fetched, but this piece of rock art is at least several thousand years old, and yet it's positioned and orientated exactly where it says you are on the moor. Having set up camp for the next few days, I head back down the moor to the Green Cabin Caff. Well, alas, the Green Cabin is no more. It's been replaced by the converted pump house. I always think when something disappears on the moor, a little bit of its character disappears with it. We're on the north face of the moor. Here we have the Cow and Calf Hotel. We also have the Cow and Calf Cafe and car park. Oh, and here we have the Cow and Calf Rocks. I'm going to begin my walk over Catty from the cafe, and my first objective is a rock known as the Haystack. Now, if you'd like a more detailed description of these rocks and locations, then you'd be well served by visiting Chris Collier's site at this web address. Overall, the walk is about 17 miles, which I'm going to be completing over a couple of days. If you rush to complete a walk on these moors, then you simply don't see it, in more ways than one. From the plateau just above the Cow and Calf Rocks, we get our first real impression of the north side of the moor. It's steep, and beneath the softening heather and bracken, it's rugged. Scratched beneath the veneer, and you can tell this old girl has had her nose pressed firmly up against the abrading ice sheets. And yet here she is, still standing. With the arrival of the Industrial Revolution, This area was quarried for the stone to build the mills, baths, spas and houses within the settlements below. Today, erosion on the moors is mainly down to the thousands of visitors' feet upon the peat and scree paths. Now, erosion caused by man isn't something new. Our distant ancestors certainly weren't eco-warriors. They were pretty thuggish with the mature forest which once covered the moors about 5,000 years ago. They found it was ideal for building material and fuel for the hearths. From the calf, it's no more than a 10-minute walk to the haystack. It is itself adorned with Neolithic art, various cup and rings and other forms of imagery. As with most of the rocks found on the moor, the haystack was brought here by the ice sheet and then deposited when the ice melted at the end of the last ice age, round about 12,500 years ago. From the haystack, it's no more than a stone's throw to the Neolithic enclosure. The story goes that this enclosure was first discovered back in the 1980s by two diviners searching for ley lines. Well, they were so pleased at having found this that they indulged in a little of the old sauce. They fell asleep and awoke in darkness to the sight of little devils dancing within the enclosure. Now we all know that's a load of rubbish. What they actually saw were the bar tats, a distant relative of the Irish leprechauns. Okay, it's a long story and I'll probably tell you about it in another programme. Well, leaving the bar tats Saturday Night Fever venue behind, I'm now going to make my way up to the 12 Apostles. The 12 Apostles, a Neolithic stone circle or 19th century folly? The jury's out as far as I'm concerned. Now, there have been reports of strange lights being seen over this circle. Well, I've spent a lot of time up here over the years and filmed quite a bit. Nope, can't say I've ever seen any strange lights.